Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into some fascinating thelemic thought today.
Oh, absolutely.
Volume 1, Number 3 of the Black Pearl Journal, to be exact.
A treasure trove.
It really is. Poetry, rituals, even book reviews.
It's amazing how much they packed in.
Such a cool mix of perspective on thelema, too.
Shows you the diversity, doesn't it? Not just one rigid way of thinking.
That's what I love about. Okay, one thing that really grabbed me right away, the Let the Scarlet Woman Beware article.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I've heard that term Scarlet Woman, but it's always been a bit mysterious. What exactly are we talking about?
So she's this powerful archetype. The article really gets into that, the symbolic nature of the Scarlet Woman.
So not a literal person.
Right, more of an energy, a concept.
Gotcha.
And they present these two sides to her. On one hand, she's destructive when she's influenced by things like pity and compassion, even tenderness.
So those emotions can be a problem.
They can hold her back, yeah. Liber Legis III.43 even warns about this, abandoning her work for old sweetnesses.
Almost like they become a trap.
Exactly. And then Liber Legis III.44 offers a different path, strength, pride, self-empowerment.
Okay, so that's where the Bina connection comes in, right?
Oh, absolutely. That tough love aspect of Bina.
Yeah.
It's key. Understanding that is key to really getting the Scarlet Woman.
It's not about being mean, but...
Not at all. It's about recognizing when it becomes self-sabotage.
I'm starting to see how this all fits together. So the Scarlet Woman, she's like this force to be reckoned with. But how does this relate to, like, someone practicing thelema?
Well, it's about recognizing those aspects within yourself.
Oh, okay.
We all have that potential, that Scarlet Woman energy.
That fierce independence, you mean?
Exactly. And the key is, are we letting those old sweetnesses get in the way?
Giving that powwow away.
Sometimes without even realizing it. And this ties into the Holy Guardian Angel, which is like the central idea in thelema.
Right, of course.
The Scarlet Woman, because of her connection to Bina, she represents that understanding you need for that connection with the Holy Guardian Angel.
Oh, interesting. So she's like a guide, showing the qualities you need for that journey.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, now, there's also this section about the Briatic hierarchies.
I'm
not going to lie, that sounds a little intimidating. What's that all about?
Okay, so the Briatic hierarchies, they're these complex orders of spiritual beings.
Spiritual beings, okay.
Associated with Bina on the Tree of Life. They represent, different aspects of divine power and wisdom.
So not just random energies.
No, very specific. And invoking them, like in ceremonies, it can strengthen the order. You align yourself with those forces.
Aligning yourself, that's powerful stuff.
It is, and the term Briatic itself comes from the Hebrew Bria, which means creation.
So they're involved in creation itself, shaping reality.
That's the idea.
Wow. That adds another layer to the Scarlet Woman, doesn't it? She's not just understanding, she's got this creative power, too.
It's all connected.
It really is. Now, shifting gears a bit, there's this ritual, Liber Gemilve Lunae.
I love that one.
What caught my eye is that it connects to stuff from other traditions, like the Gayatri Mantra.
Yes. The author even mentioned that link directly.
It's cool how thelema draws from different sources.
It's not just a closed system, and this ritual, it's a lunar adoration, working with the moon.
Like Lubaresh, but for the moon.
Exactly. But what's fascinating is how it mirrors the moon's phases. Waxing, full, waning.
Each phase has its own part of the ritual.
Signs, invocations, yeah.
It's like a dance with the moon's energy.
Beautifully put. And, the author actually invites feedback on it. Collaboration
Really?
Shows you how open thelema can be.
Not just following a script.
More about understanding the principles and then adapting them, making them your own.
That's really cool. Not just a set of rules, but a journey.
Exactly. And that journey often involves some practical tools, which is what we'll get into next with the pentagram ritual.
Oh yeah, a classic.
Foundational stuff. It's a big one, the pentagram ritual. Important for, well, pretty much everyone in thelema.
Doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've been practicing for years.
Right. It's all about those basics, cleansing your space, making it sacred.
Like setting the stage.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a difference between banishing and invoking, right?
So it's not just about drawing a pentagram.
It's about the intention, too, which direction you're going.
Okay, break that down for me.
So banishing is think of it like clearing out the cobwebs. Getting rid of negative energy, anything unwanted.
Spiritual spring cleaning.
Love that. And then invoking, that's when you're calling in specific energies, qualities you want to work with.
So one's like hitting reset, the other's inviting guests over.
Perfect analogy. And it's all about visualization, too. Seeing colors, elements, the tools associated with each archangel.
When I first learned about this ritual, that's what really struck me, how visual it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like cinematic.
A lot of thelemic practices are like that.
You're really using your imagination, almost like you're shaping the energy.
That's the key. And the Black Pearl, actually, they talk about using the full phrase, Ata Gibberli Odam Adonai.
Instead of just Egale.
Right, it's saying that understanding intent. That's more important than just saying the words.
Makes sense. It's like magic as a language. You got to know the grammar.
Exactly. Speaking of powerful experiences, there's this whole vision and the voice section.
Oh yeah, Crowley's visions. The 24th, 23rd, and 22nd ethers.
Some intense stuff.
To be honest, the whole ether thing always kind of confused me. What are they exactly?
Think of them like realms or levels of consciousness. Crowley was exploring these through his magical practice.
So he's mapping out, like, different dimensions.
That's a good way to think about it. And these visions, they're full of symbolism, insights, about transformation, duality, the union of opposites.
It sounds pretty intense. What kind of stuff did he actually see?
Oh, it's more than just seeing. In the 24th ether, he talks about these dewdrops turning into cascades of gold.
Whoa, that's a powerful image.
Isn't it? But Crowley always emphasized that it's about personal interpretation,
Not just one right answer.
Exactly. How does the imagery resonate with you? What does it spark?
So it's an invitation to explore your own consciousness.
That's the beauty of it. And what's fascinating is that the symbolism often connects to the positions of celestial bodies. Like in the 23rd ether, he sees this bull and eagle.
A bull and an eagle. What's that about?
Well, it lines up with Taurus and Scorpio, and there was a full moon during this vision.
Wait, so the planets were influencing what he saw?
It's like the inner and outer worlds. They're connected. And these weren't just random animals either. The bull and the eagle, they represent these cherubic figures from the Golden Dawn system.
Oh, right, Crowley's background.
It all ties in. So the bull, linked to Taurus, it symbolizes strength, grounding.
Earthy energy.
Exactly. And the eagle, with Scorpio, that's transformation, death, and rebirth.
Two very different energies.
But in this ether, they actually unite. It's a huge moment, a rapturous experience of the Rosy Cross.
The Rosy Cross, that's a pretty big symbol. What's its significance in Thelema?
Well, it represents balance. The union of opposites, that alchemical process.
Like we were talking about with the Scarlet Woman.
It all comes back around. So in this vision, Crowley's experiencing these forces merging within himself.
Powerful stuff.
And it's all happening during a lunar eclipse, which, just amplifies the whole duality and union thing.
Like the eclipse is mirroring what's happening inside him.
Exactly. And there's more in this ether, too. There's this line about how the spade of the husbandman is the scepter of the king.
So even ordinary work can be meaningful.
It's about finding the sacred in the everyday.
Spirituality isn't just rituals and visions.
It's about how you live your life, every action, even gardening.
Love that. And this ether, it also touches on change, instability. The bull even says, "In my stability is concentrated eternal change."
A bit of a paradox, isn't it?
But that's how life is. Change is the only constant. Finding stability in that, that's the key.
Right. So we've explored the 23rd ether with its bull and eagle and rosy cross. Now, what about the 22nd?
Okay, let's dive in. The 22nd ether, what's waiting for us there?
This one's called Lin, and it actually connects to the 5-week and 6 ceremony, which is all about achieving the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel.
Now, that's the thing I'm really interested in.
Such a core concept in Thelema.
And Crowley's experiences, they were huge for him.
They were. And right away in this vision, he talks about how it's beyond words, beyond the senses. They are not sounds, he says, nor are they tracings of fiery light.
It's like he's trying to describe something that can't be described.
The ineffable, like trying to explain color to someone who's blind.
I get it.
And he even says this about the dew that appears. Dew doesn't represent what I mean in the least, he says.
Dew, like drops of water.
Yeah, but he describes them as these enormous globes, shining like the full moon, but transparent too.
Flowing orbs of light. That's a wild image.
And this dew, it's popped up in other ethers too, even in other mystical traditions.
So it's not just a random thing.
It often symbolizes these intense spiritual experiences, almost like a manifestation of divine energy.
Something beyond the intellect.
You can't just think your way to it, you have to experience it.
That makes sense. What else happens in this ether?
Well, Crowley describes merging with this divine tablet of letters.
A tablet of letters.
Yeah, and he loses his sense of self in the process. He says, "And all the names of God that are not known even to the angels close me about."
Complete immersion in divine knowledge.
Like becoming one with the source of creation itself.
Wow. And this happens as the sun is setting. Interesting.
Symbolic, right? Descending into the underworld, the unconscious.
Like the hero going on a quest.
Exactly. And the theme of transformation continues. Crowley says his senses all merge into one, and then that sense dissolves.
Total dissolution of the ego.
Beyond the limitations of the physical body.
Sounds like samadhi.
He even mentions achieving samadhi multiple times. And as he's coming out of these states, he talks about this glowing sun forming within him. He calls it the birth of hell.
The birth of hell. But a sun is usually a positive symbol.
It's about the intensity of spiritual awakening. It can be challenging, even painful.
Like a confrontation with your shadow self?
Exactly. And then a divine voice tells Crowley to accomplish the sevenfold task of the earth.
So even after all that, the work isn't over.
Right. The insights you gain, you have to integrate them into your life.
It's like before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
The work continues, but with a deeper understanding. So that's the 22nd ether. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, it's amazing how Crowley brings all these different threads together. The symbolism, the astrology, his personal experiences, and then he ties it back to the Lemmic practices.
He's weaving a tapestry, isn't he?
He really is. And the threads that keep popping up are duality, transformation, the union of opposites.
Core themes in Thelema.
It's like he's giving us a roadmap for our own spiritual evolution.
Confront your shadows, embrace change, find balance.
And these visions, they're almost a century old, but they're still so relevant today.
The human search for meaning, it never gets old.
True. And the Black Pearl, it goes beyond these mystical accounts, too.
It gives you practical tools as well.
We've talked about rituals, but there's so much more in here.
A whole toolbox for the aspiring Thelemite.
And what I love is that it's not dogmatic. It emphasizes personal interpretation.
Finding your own path.
It's an active process, not blind faith.
Exactly. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into this issue of Black Pearl.
It feels like we just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
What really stands out to me is that theme of transformation. The Scarlet Woman, the Bull and Eagle, Crowley's experiences of samadhi. It's all about change, evolution.
Becoming something more.
And it makes me wonder, how can we apply these principles to our own lives? What are those bull-eagle aspects within ourselves that need to come together?
That's the question, isn't it? And Black Pearl encourages us to find our own answers.
Through exploration, through practice.
This deep dive was just a taste. What will you discover in its pages?
Yeah, and it's not just in Crowley's visions either.
No, not at all.
You see it everywhere in this issue of Black Pearl, that idea of transformation.
It's like woven into the fabric of Thelema.
Exactly. And it makes you think, how could we apply that in our own lives? You know, like those bull and eagle aspects Crowley talks about.
It's a powerful image.
It is. What parts of ourselves need to come together to kind of reach that next level?
It's a journey, that's for sure.
And it's amazing to me that these visions, I mean, they're from like almost 100 years ago.
Crazy to think about.
But they still resonate, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
They're like this window into what the potential of human consciousness.
They make you realize we're all capable of those profound experiences.
And it's not just about mystical stuff either, right? The Black Pearl, it gives you tools to work with.
Yeah, it's not just theory.
We've talked about rituals, but there's so much more packed in here.
Practical advice, philosophical reflections.
Even poetry. I love that they include creative stuff.
It shows you that Thelema, it's not just one thing. It touches on every aspect of life.
It's a whole way of being, almost.
And the C, I think, is that it encourages you to find your own understanding.
Not just blindly accepting what someone else says.
It's about questioning, exploring, making it your own.
Exactly. So I guess this wraps up our deep dive into this issue of Black Pearl.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
It really does. We've covered so much ground. The Scarlet Woman, lunar rituals, those amazing visions from Crowley. It's been quite a journey.
And we've only scratched the surface, really.
That's the exciting part. There's always more to discover. I encourage everyone listening, go check out Black Pearl for yourselves.
See what sparks your curiosity.
What will you find with its pages? Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep into the mysteries of Thelema.